She is an award-winning songwriter, educator, change maker, education influencer, and a global goodwill ambassador. And she has founded a program that teaches us the way to teach our young children about child abuse prevention. And the program will give you the ways to empower children and help you open the lines of communication. So she has decided to put her songwriting skills into practice by writing the program called My Body Is My Body. And to date, the program has been translated into 19 languages, and animations have been viewed over 1 million views on YouTube in more than 200 countries. So this program is free for everyone. It is my absolute honor to introduce the lady herself, Chrissy Sykes, with her presentation, The Power of Music in Education. So during our session, if you have any questions, please pop up in the chat box below, and we'll have a Q&A shortly after Chrissy's section. So hi, Chrissy. The stage is
Hi, Anusha. Thank you so much for having me today, and it's an honor to be here to share with everybody. Can you hear me clearly? Can you hear me? Yeah?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, lovely. Well, thank you very much for inviting me to be a part of this. Before I share my screen and the presentation, I just want to say to you, as an educator, you may be the only line of defense against maltreatment that some children have. And understanding your important role in safety and the supporting children is so important. Please remember that a child may only work up the courage to report their abuse once. If you, as their educator, are not supportive, it might be the last time they ever tell someone, especially if their abuse is happening at home. So it is important to take every report of abuse seriously. The reason I do this is because, according to the WHO, 1 billion children every year are maltreated in some form, either sexually, physically, or they're neglected or emotionally. And so educators play a key role in protecting all children from child maltreatment. I'm going to just share my screen. There we go. Right. So the reason we're here is because I use music for educating, because I think it's one of the most powerful mediums to use with the subject. So music is a universal language that we all enjoy in many different genres, and it's also an important part of most of our lives. And according to the Johns Hopkins University, research shows that listening to music can reduce anxiety, blood pressure, and pain, as well as improve sleep quality, mood, mental alertness, and memory. Memory being the key thing while we're teaching children about child abuse prevention. So music can also play a key part in educating children. A 2016 study at the University of Southern California's Brain and Creativity Institute found that musical experiences in childhood can actually accelerate brain development, particularly in the areas of language acquisition and reading skills. Also, dancing to music helps children build motor skills while allowing them to practice self-expression. So for children and adults, music helps strengthen memory skills, and it has the ability to stimulate the whole of the brain. It's one of the only things that does that stimulates everything. You know, usually language will stimulate one part of the brain and stuff. So music is doing wonderful things with our children. So it has the ability to, as I say, stimulate the whole brain, highlight memory function, stimulate speech, communication, and listening skills. So you can see, and I'm sure you use music in your classrooms for various different things according to the age group of the children you're teaching. So we know that child abuse cases around the world are at an alarming rate at the moment. And the problem is, with the advent of COVID, it's made it 10 times worse. I'm just going to make this in full. There we go, that'll be better. And I can move that, there we go. So it's important that we start talking about this problem in our communities and discuss it openly. So the My Body is My Body program serves as an introduction to child maltreatment and has helped many, many communities to start addressing this problem, giving parents, teachers, social workers, and community leaders a way to initiate the difficult subjects that we need to address with children in a positive and empowering and non-threatening way. So the biggest problem that I've spoken to teachers is they haven't been comfortable with dealing with the subject, or they don't know where to start. Now, I know in certain countries there's good teaching and good resources available for teachers, but in many countries there is not. So the My Body is My Body program fills loads of holes there where the resources are not available. And I always say to people that even if you're teaching and you've got your curriculum, the songs in the My Body program you can use in conjunction with your curriculum, because it'll just reinforce what you're teaching the kids. Oh yes, I wanted to just, before we start, I wanted to just share a small video with you about the kids singing, just so that you can get an idea of the power of teaching them through this song. These songs, there's 6 songs, and I'll go through them with you. So this is just a short 20-second clip. Right. So as you can see, you can use it in many different ways. You know, some teachers use the songs in the classroom. As you can see in South Africa and at St. Teresa's school, they did it as an assembly, and they got all the kids involved, and it just starts the conversation with the children, and the parents love it. We had so many, we've had so many parents come back and say, you know, we love this program because the kids have asked questions and it has initiated the subject with them. Okay, so the My Body is My Body program has been taught in person to well over 1 million children. And we've also had now 1.3 million views on our YouTube videos, and it's growing all the time. But we need to reach so many more children, and that is why we're targeting teachers like you and influencers like you. The program now has been translated into 25 languages, and the songs have been sung in 12 different languages. Everything is free to use. There's lesson plans, there's all sorts of things, quizzes, children's workbooks, everything can be downloaded from the website. And as volunteers offer to do different languages, then I put them on the website. Now, I need to explain to you that so far, this has all been done by volunteers. I have had no funding. It's just been an absolute passion to share this program and to help kids. And I want to make sure that it's free for everybody to use and share, so that no child is left out. So as you can see, we also have tutorials for parents, and it's supported by lots and lots of big organizations like ISPCAN, which is the International Society for the Prevention of Child Abuse and Neglect. Compassion International uses the program. Pashan, which is in Pakistan. Cognizant, which is a worldwide organization, and it's the core educational program for the Global Goodwill Ambassadors Foundation. And we work with hundreds of NGOs around the world. So it's been approved by a lot of different people. Okay. Our message for presenting the program, especially because this is such a serious subject, is to keep it fun, keep it simple. Young children do not need to know any in-depth details about abuse. We're giving them simple rules as we want to keep our children innocent. So we say nobody should be hurting you, nobody should be touching your private parts, nobody should take photos of your private parts. If you have a problem, tell somebody. Don't keep secrets if someone's hurting you, and please tell someone if you're being bullied. And the last rule when you're presenting this is to keep it positive. The objective is to empower children so they feel positive about their bodies and safe in the knowledge that they have someone to come and talk to. That is the biggest thing we have with children. And I speak to so many of them that say they can't ask their parents. So we need to make sure that they have a safe environment within the school or within after school activities where they've got people to come and talk to. So I'm going to go through the songs. Anusha, just let me know when I run out of time. Okay, so because I'll just carry on until we need to stop.
Will do.
Okay, so the first song is called My Body Is My Body, and it's what you heard the children singing in that short clip. And this is what we say to the kids. Today we're going to learn about our bodies. Do you know your body is very special and it belongs only to you? We have many different parts of our bodies, including legs, arms, mouth, feet, hands, ears, and we also have private parts. And your private parts are where your underwear or your swimsuit covers. So we're not doing anything that makes you or the children feel uncomfortable. We're just talking about body parts that everybody has. And you know, I think the more open and honest we talk about it, the better. Now, this program works well from children from the age of 3 up to, I don't know, I usually say 10, but I've seen in many, many countries they're teaching this to teenagers. So you would obviously have to change the language a bit because this is very simplistic and aimed at younger children. So when you're very small, there's only 2 times that somebody would ever touch your private parts. When you're very small, your mom, dad, or your carer will bathe you. Then they'll wash your private parts. But as you grow older, you'll learn how to do it for yourself. If you're sick or sore, you might have to have medicine there, or a doctor might have to look at your private parts, but your mommy, daddy, or a carer should always be with you. So apart from that, nobody should ever be touching your private parts or taking photos of your private parts. So this is, as I say, a very simple explanation, but it's one that parents and teachers feel comfortable with. And as I say, from the children from the age of 3 can understand this message. So we then do the My Body Is My Body song and answer any questions that the children might have. So we've presented this in some of the most conservative communities around the world. We did a presentation in Saudi Arabia to the dads, which we thought might be a problem, and they loved it. They sat down with their kids, they worked with the children's workbooks, they did drawings. So I know that this program does not offend. And that's something that we've got to find, something that is usable in many, many different cultures. So this is part of the children's workbook. So we get the children to draw a line to each body part. So we get them involved. And then we sing the song. If you're singing songs with the children, make sure they're not sitting at their desks, sort of maybe playing with their nose or playing with their pencil or something. Make them stand up, shake their hands, jump around, and get them involved. The more involved you can get them in with the songs, the more they remember it. And as I say, the more memorable you make it, and the more they will take it away with them. You will all remember little songs that you learned as a child, because these songs are with us for the rest of our lives. And this is what we want to do to children. We want to make sure that they know that their bodies belong to them and that they have a right to say no if somebody does something that makes them feel uncomfortable, or somebody wants them to go somewhere with them. We need them to be empowered. So make it memorable, make it fun. The second song in the program is called If It Don't Feel Right, Don't Do It. So this is a rap song, and the kids love this one, and they shout out, if it don't feel right, don't do it. You can talk about peer pressure with this, and you can talk about body empowerment. And with peer pressure, you can say, if kids want you to go somewhere that is not right, or your parents won't approve, or if they want you to maybe take drugs, or if they want you to bully somebody, or get involved with bullying, that if it don't feel right, don't do it. And my kids, I've got 5 kids, and they're all grown up. And we still use this rule, because if they come to me and say, Mom, what do you think of this idea? Or do you think I should do this or that? And I always say to them, what do you feel? So talking about feelings with children and letting them acknowledge their feelings is really important. And this song will allow you to explore those topics. So this is part of the workbook. You talk about bullying and how to deal with bullying, which is very important. And as I say, then in the workbook, we also have got funny faces with please name what these people are feeling. So as I say, it's a nice way to talk about feelings and then do a song. The third song is called the What If Game. And the objective of this is to teach children to say no with authority. I always say to teachers and parents, use scenarios that are going on in your community for this. So you say to the children, what if a babysitter tries to touch you under your clothes? What would you do? I'd say no. And you get them to shout no and go and tell somebody. What happens if somebody wants you to go with them? Say they said, I've just lost my puppy. Please come and help me look for it. What would you do? You'd say, no, I don't go with strangers. So this song allows you to talk about all different scenarios. And then we also deal with what is a stranger, because working with the kids, if you ask them what a stranger is, so many times they'll say it's a bad man. And so you say, well, it could be a lady, it could be a teenager, it could be a girl or a boy, it is anybody you don't know. So this allows all those topics. I will make this PDF available. I think Anusha has got it. So if she can make it available in the comments, it will be good, because there's a lot to cover here with the program, and I won't have time to go through everything. So as you can see, this is again from the children's workbook. So what would you do in these situations? And you shout no and tell a safe adult, which leads us to our next song, which is if you've got a problem, tell somebody. So we're reinforcing the learning of telling someone if there's a problem. And if that person doesn't listen, to keep telling till somebody does listen. So we give children a list of people they can talk to. So mums, dads, aunties, uncles, grannies, grandpas, brothers and sisters, older brothers and sisters, of course, over 18, principals, headmasters, school counselors, neighbors, policemen, a mentor, a pastor, a spiritual leader. And then you can involve the children in class discussions as to who would you feel comfortable talking to. So it's really important that they realize they're not on their own, that there are plenty of other people that can help them through all of this. We also need to tell children about talking about problems, because talking about things and telling somebody about your problems is such a hard thing to do. Even as an adult, it's hard. So you can imagine what it's like for children, especially abused children. I know, because I was sexually abused as a child, and I never told anybody. And this is why I find it imperative to get to children to know that they can tell somebody. If this is happening to them, they need to tell somebody. So you can explain to them what adults' reactions might be for the older children. I haven't got it in this one, but we also tell children that when it's all in the presentation, when you're telling about how you feel, when you are talking about a problem, is you might feel shaky, you might feel scared, you might feel you might sort of break out with a sweat, but whatever it is, it's okay, it's normal. So but you need to tell the problem. I also tell children, you don't have to tell everything at the same time. You can tell little bits, and then if they see that your reaction is calm and supportive, they'll tell you some more. Also, we can tell children that if they feel that it's too difficult to talk about, that they can write it down on a piece of paper and give it to a teacher. When I was presenting this in schools, after the program, I used to get the kids to write to me, and I'd say, tell me, you know, just write me anything. Tell me if you thought the songs were good, or if you thought the songs were terrible, if you enjoyed it, if you've got any problems. And I just kind of put it in there as one of the points. I didn't say, write to me if you've got a problem. You need to just say, just write everything. Write, what do you enjoy doing with your parents? What is your favorite thing that you do with your family at home? And also, if you've got a problem, you can put it down as well, so we can talk about it. And so I used to find that between 15 and 20% of the kids would come forward with a problem. Sometimes it was bullying, sometimes it was child abuse that was happening in the home. Sometimes it was, you know, all sorts of things came out, and it was very important that it was dealt with. One of the main things I do need to say is that if a child does reveal anything to you, please be very supportive. Tell them that they're very brave for sharing with you. I'm sure you all know this anyway. And write what the kid says down in their words, not your words. It's very important that if we're reporting something, that it is totally in the child's words, even if it doesn't make 100% sense to everyone. It's important that the authorities know exactly what the child said. So this is part of the workbook. Again, it's all fun and bright and hopefully helpful to you and the children. We've got the next song is called Love is Gentle, which I'm just going to skip through because I think we're running out of time and I want to get to the last song. But the Love is Gentle is just because children need to know what it is to be loved and what should be happening to them, that they should be loved gently and cared for and all sorts of good things. So the last song is Say No to Secrets. And this is really important because abuse flourishes in secrecy, and it allows the abuser to take control of the child. So this is why we need to teach the child not to keep secrets. So teaching about good and bad secrets can be difficult to explain and difficult for children to understand. So keep it simple. This program is all about keeping it simple, and again, using the music to reaffirm what you've been teaching them. So instead of keeping secrets, I encourage parents to talk about surprises, because you can keep a surprise for a while and then it's usually got a great outcome, but it does have an ending, whereas secrets are non-ending. So we need to tell children, let's not keep secrets, especially if somebody is hurting you or doing things that make you feel uncomfortable. So that's really important. I offer 2 courses, which are free, which is Introduction to Child Maltreatment, where we cover all sorts of things, why we need to teach about this subject, worldwide facts, different signs that you need to look for in your classroom, how to react if a child discloses, and how to report child abuse. And we've got a form in there that is you can fill in if somebody does reveal abuse to you. And then the second course I offer is how to teach this program. So there's tutorials, there's lesson plans, all sorts of things, and you can do one song at a time, or you can learn the whole program. But I think in the classroom, it'll help you, because if you've got a child that is being disruptive, and I often say to this to teachers, instead of going, that's just a disruptive child, we need to look at why that child is being disruptive. And a lot of time it's because there is some kind of abuse happening, whether it's bullying or whether it's abuse at home or abuse out of the home. We've got to remember that 95% of abuse that happens to our children is carried out by people they know and trust. So family members, friends of the family, or people that parents trust with their children. So it's just really important to make yourself aware of this, and we need to get this to as many teachers that aren't teaching child abuse prevention or body safety, and so that we can change this figure of 1 billion children that are abused every year. So thank you for making a difference. Anusha?
Thank you so much, Chrissy. Thank you so much. That was amazing. And we do have a couple of questions from our participants. I do like to point out first question, and that is from Baizid Khan, and he's from Bangladesh. And he questions, is there Bengali version of My Body is My Body song?
There is. And all the program has been translated into Bengali, and I'm actually working on the rest of the songs at the moment. So yes, the answer is we've got the first song done, and the other songs will be done really soon. I do need to actually, Anusha, can I share for 2 seconds just a little bit of the My Body song, because I want to show the teachers how the songs are on the internet.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, and I'll stop screen sharing in a second. Okay, so this is the My Body song. All the songs in all the different languages are done through animation, and it's like we've got them in Arabic, and the little girl is wearing a hijab. So I've tried to be culturally sensitive to the different areas. So this is the English version. Oh, sorry, I'll just go back. I just wanted to skip the introduction.
Name is Cynthia.
Okay.
And today we're going to do the My Body is My Body program. We're going to sing some songs, have some fun, and learn about how to keep safe. You know, our bodies are very special, and nobody has the right to hurt us, or touch our private parts, or do anything that makes us feel uncomfortable, because it's our special body. We're going to do the first song now, and I want you to sing along with me. It's my body. Nobody has the right to hurt me. My body is my body for me. It's my body, my body.
So just to give you an idea, so each song has a different cartoon, a different setting, and as I say, it's all something that you can sing along with the children.
We do have second question from Mr. Dheeraj Kurung, and he's tuning in from Belgium. He asks, talking about safe adults, what if the parents are abusive? Is there any advice about it? Thank you.
Well, that's why it's important for the teachers to be teaching some sort of body protection and opening those lines of education with the children about body safety, so that the kids know that they've got somebody at school, a safe person to talk to. It's so important. And yes, if the parents are abusing that child, as a teacher, you need to find out what your procedures are at the school. If you do not have procedures, because I know a lot of schools don't, please phone your local hotline and get advice on what to do. But you need to report that the child is being abused. If we do not help the children and they've come to you and you've not reported it or not done something to help them, they will, as I said earlier, they will often only tell one person and never tell anyone else. And that child, the problem with child abuse is children grow up with such terrible, terrible lifelong problems, including learning problems. If a child is abused at a young age, the neurological pathways do not develop like other children. So they're having learning problems as they're growing up, as well as all the physical and emotional problems that they're having. So it's so important that we do deal with this, and the parents know if they come to the school, if their child is being abused, it will be reported, that it's not going to be just turned away, or they need to know that something will be done about it.
Thank you, Chrissy. I hope Dheeraj got his answer. And I do have one question. So what are the top 3 things that we can look for as adults when it comes to red flags that tell us that a child is going through something outside of school?
Okay, well, as I said before, a lot of times your child that is causing the massive disruption in your school will be a child that is crying out for some kind of attention. Your bully, the one that's causing all the disruptions, talking when they shouldn't be talking. A lot of times that, have a look more closely at that child. A child that flinches, if you go near a child to say, well done or something, and they do this, the flinching is a problem. And also just looking for things like how the child's dressed. Have they got a jumper on in the middle of summer? It could be hiding bruises. Do they wear things that are inappropriate? Are they clean? So if we're looking at neglect, have they been washed? Are their teeth clean? Are their basics being looked after? So there's lots of things. And in that, in the program that I do, in the course, there's all the things that you can look for the different types of abuse. And also remember, a lot of children don't just have one type of abuse. They could be being physically abused and neglected. They could be being sexually abused and emotionally abused. And emotional abuse is one of the worst ones, because there's no bruises, there's no physical, there's nothing physically to see, but it's really, really detrimental to a child. So Yeah, there's lots to learn and lots to be aware of.
So thank you so much, Chrissy. But how do we ensure that we are taking care of our children? Like, for example, if I was a parent and I do not see any symptoms in my child, like he wouldn't admit anything, he is happy, he's conversating, and he's very good with his friends and with his family. How do we know that he is actually good? I mean, how do we keep up those communications with him or her?
Well, I think that's exactly what it is keeping up the communication with your child, making sure that your child can ask you anything. And that's, I don't know if I said it earlier, but when I talk to kids, they say, oh, I can't talk to my mom and dad about that. Or if I ask them those sort of things, they get angry. That's what we've got to get over with parents. They need to be open with their children. And the reason why I say use this program, because parents do not feel uncomfortable with this, but we need to make sure that our kids know that we're not going to get angry if they ask us questions, or even if it's intimate questions, we need to just answer them, rationally and positively without going into too much detail. But at the minute they say, I use my mom as an example because she was an old school mom, and whenever you asked her anything that was slightly out of bounds, she'd go, no, not talking about that, forget it, which was not right. Children are inquisitive, they want to know things, and we've got to be open with them.
Thank you so much, Chrissy. And those of you who are asking me about the presentation, I have attached to it in the chat box. But then again, if Chrissy can tell us that how can we reach out to you if we have any more questions regarding these kind of topics, if we can tell our participants that where can we go to see more. Okay.
Well, Education Influence, I've got a profile on there, so if you want to have a look, you can go on there. I think it's got all my links to the website and to the courses. So yes, use Education Influence. It'll be a good place to find me, and that'll be great. Yeah, and I'm always available to answer questions and help in any way.
Thank you so much. And we have a new question from Clifford. He is from Ghana, and he questions, some children come to school without eating anything. Does this form part of emotional abuse?
It's more neglect than emotional abuse, but we've got to also have a look at the circumstances. If children are not eating because their parents just aren't bothered, then that's neglect. If children aren't eating because their parents can't afford to feed them, then the schools need to step in, hopefully, and supply some food for the children. We need to know what we're dealing with, because a lot of really, really lovely parents have no money. And that, of course, is not neglect. It's that they just aren't coping as parents. And we need to look at communities and step in and help the parents that are struggling. So, yeah, again, it's learning. It's all to do with communication, finding out the background of the child, what's happening, why aren't they being fed? Because they need to be fed so they can learn.
And also, Bayezid Khan from Bangladesh asks, and it's very, very important question. Like, some children are differently abled. So how can disabled, particularly autistic children, share their problem? I mean, do you provide those guidance regarding those aspects?
Well, this is where the music comes in, because many disabled children or autistic children, I used to work with children with cerebral palsy. Music works brilliantly with them, really does. And you also have to realize that many disabled children are taken advantage of, because they can be. So we need to watch very carefully. We need to watch if there's any change in behavior, and this goes for a lot of children, is the change in behavior. Have they suddenly become withdrawn? Have their grades suddenly dropped? It changes. are really, really good key things to have a look at with children. So yes, but it all depends to how severe the disability, their disability is, as to how you can teach them and how they can converse with you. But we need to have that conversation with all children, no matter what they are, and how old they are. We need to bring that up, and as I say, especially with disabled children, or children with different abilities, as we like to call them.
So can we view those discussions in your website?
Yes, as I say, there's so much on the website. There's lesson plans, all these sort of presentations that we've been doing. There's an educator's leaflet, there's a parent's leaflet, there's the tutorials for each song. But if you can't find anything, contact me and I'll help you.
Thank you, Chrissy. And we have Gavin tuned in as well, and Gavin is one of the co-founders of Education Influence. Hi, Gavin, and I think he have a question for you.
Hi, thank you, Chrissy. Nice to see you. Amazing workshop.
Thank you.
So nice to see such a detailed, delivery of how we can protect our youngest students and our youngest citizens. I guess as an ex-school principal and a school teacher of 25 years, I guess my question is this: over those years, what's happened is you spot something in a child. There's a difference. There's a nuance. There's something that it's in your gut that it's not right. Something's not right. How important is that feeling? Now, the sixth sense, what should we do about that? When something just tells you something's not right here, what's the reaction that we should take? When we feel that it's a look in the eye, it's a slumped shoulders, it's a sad eye look, it's a something.
Yeah.
What do we do about that? What's the first point of call?
Well, I would, for me, I would bring up something like the program to give that child a way to share. If the child is somebody that you feel you can talk to, you can take that child aside and say, is there something wrong? Have you been having any problems? Is somebody bullying you or anything like that? But if you find that child is not talking at all, it might be good to do it in a group setting. Children that are being abused sometimes like the anonymity of being in a classroom and not being singled out. If you take them aside to talk to them, they go, oh, everybody's going to see, and I'm not going to say anything, and they just close up. So the group session and getting all the other kids to put their hands up and tell things might encourage the child to do something. And then, as I said, the other thing is to give them the opportunity to write, to draw. The kids that I worked with when even drawing sessions with 5-year-olds, 4-year-olds, a little girl drew a little stick figure and wrote hurt me next to it. So we knew we had to talk to her. So anything to allow that communication, Gavin, is as it's just really important. And listen to your gut feelings, because they're usually right.
That's right. They are usually right. And that's what I was trying to point out, that I guess in my experience, when I've felt something that wasn't right and not acted upon it, regardless of whether it was with children or with whether I should park my car in this street because it's probably going to get bumped. Later on, it got bumped, and I regretted not acting upon, I really felt that I shouldn't have parked my car there. And I really felt that child had a sad look in their eyes. I didn't do anything. And I guess the reason I asked the question is, there's going to be no harm in actually asking the question. Is everything okay? I'm meeting with the mum and dad, and just posing the question. There's nothing wrong with that. You might discover something or you might not. But if you don't, that's fine. But if you do, then you'll regret not doing that. Anyway, the reason I really want to ask a question is just to say to you and everybody else that thanks to Anusha for obviously organizing this, but thanks to you for coming, because I appreciate it greatly. Lisa is a wonderful friend of mine and a dear friend of yours. and we want to actually have your courses embedded onto our platform, so
wonderful.
yeah, we want to get the API and want to lift it off of there and have it embedded onto our platform, so anybody coming along can take part in this. Child protection is probably, you know, the most important thing when it comes to children in schools and children at home. So we want to have it as part of who we are, and we appreciate you for putting all. You've clearly put hundreds of thousands of hours into this, and you know, I think people can benefit from this all around the world. So we appreciate you and thank you so much. And you know, we'll work in the background over the next few weeks to have this as part of our system and part of who we are.
Oh, that's wonderful, Gavin, because you know it is just my aim to just reach as many teachers, because we want to help the teachers, you know, and we want to help the parents. And I appreciate the opportunity to be able to share on your platform. Thank you.
No, it's
and
our
thank
pleasure.
you, Anusha, as well.
Thank
yes,
you,
thank you
Chrissy.
both.
Thank you so much.